like it when people don't know who my man is. I love it when people do not know who my man is. I really like that. Ngaske abantu bangayazi manje indoda yakho ibe mystery. Like who's making her so happy, child? Hey loves, welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for tuning in. If you are a new subscriber, welcome and thank you for joining my beautiful family. If you are a returning supporter, a day one, a regular, welcome back my love and thank you so much for coming to show your girl some support once again. And if you are new to this channel period and you have not subscribed, please do click the subscribe button. We truly would appreciate your presence, and don't forget to click the notifications bell so you're notified every single time we upload a new video. So in today's video, I am going to be doing a casual chit chat get ready with me, and this is a date night inspired look. I'm not really actually going on a date. A lot of people on my Instagram when I ask for questions were like, who are you going on a date with? Will you ever see your boyfriend? I was like, I ain't going on no date. I'm just doing it for you guys. I'm just shooting content for you guys. A big thank you to Maven for sponsoring this video. I really appreciate it so much. I'm literally just going to be using their products to achieve this super glam look. Thank you so much to everybody who sent questions, and I hope you guys find this a fun and enjoyable video. If you guys do have any questions about the products, if you guys would like to find out more product information, check the description box. There will be links as well as to where you can shop all of the Maven products that I used in this video. So without any more rambling, I hope you guys do enjoy this tutorial. Don't forget to give this video a very big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, share it if you can, and yeah, let's get into the tutorial. Now I must warn you, I'm not the best at multitasking. I don't do this often, so it might not be amazing, but hopefully it's interesting enough for you to watch and stick around and subscribe and like and comment and share. I've already started by doing my brows off camera, and then I've also prepped my lids using the Maven Basic Beat Cream Eyeshadow in the shade Coquito. I don't know how to pronounce this word, but this is what it looks like. They do have quite a few interesting shades to pick from, so if you're someone who's interested in cream eyeshadows, then you could check it out on their website. I will leave a link down below. And then I'm gonna go in to the Medium Blend Basic Beads eyeshadow palette. I'm gonna be using this shade up here as my transition color. So the first question, by the way, if you guys don't know where I'm getting these questions from, I did ask people to send me questions on my Instagram stories. I'm always asking my IG followers for questions. I'm sure they're probably like, girl. So the first question is, who is expected to pay for the bill? You, him, or both of you? I feel like whoever initiated the date should pay for the bill. But also at the same time, if you are going on a date with a decent oak, then they should offer to pay for the bill. Do you get what I mean? Like, which guy is going to, even if I insinuate that I want to see you, or I basically throw, which I've definitely been in situations where I'm the one who's like hinting and nudging, because some guys are just shy, or maybe some guys just think that they're intimidated by you, you know, they think they don't really stand a chance. So you have to be the one who's like, hi, you know. And that doesn't mean that now if I go on a date with that person, I must pay. I'm so sorry. I feel like men should pay for the first date, child. The next question is top 3 fragrances for date night. My top 3 fragrances, definitely the YSL Libre. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Dior Addict, absolutely love and adore. And I really like, I love my Gucci Guilty. Like, for me, that's one of like my signature scents. So generally date nights, I like to gravitate towards something a little bit more stronger than I'd usually use, but very much on the feminine and sexy side, not like woody or spicy. So yeah, I think those are my top 3 date night fragrances. So I'm first gonna go into this shade over here, and I'm going to be focusing that on the outer corners, and this is in the Bold Blend eyeshadow palette from Maven. Now the one thing I'll tell you guys about these palettes is that they are so pigmented. Very, 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 very pigmented. I love the quality of the product. The next question is, what are the best foods to eat on a date for a self-conscious eater? I'm like, you know, when it comes to questions like this, I always feel some type of way, because I feel like if you are self-conscious via clumsiness, that's completely understandable. And there's certain things that I wouldn't eat on a first date because I am self-conscious, because I'm clumsy, but not because I don't want my partner to think I eat a lot or whatever. I eat, and I will eat on the first date because I want you to know that I enjoy my food, and I'm probably going to finish my plates. I'm not the kind of girl who's going to leave a little bit of food just so that he can be like, oh, so what a lady. No. So if you are someone who's self-conscious because you are clumsy, then obviously try and stay away from things that have a lot of sauce, foods that are very runny, or maybe any food that needs you to eat with your hands. So you ideally wouldn't have something like a pizza or a burger, because that can be quite messy to eat. A pizza is even better because at least you can slice it with a fork and knife. A burger is just a nightmare because there's things dripping out of the burger, there's sauces, there's onion rings, there's this and that. Yeah, so I would probably have something like a steak and a veggies, or fish and veggies. Those were generally like my go-to meals before I became plant-based. And also, like, ladies, please don't be self-conscious because of, like, you don't want to look like you're eating too much or whatever on a first date. I feel like men really eat whatever they want, so why can't we? The next question is great places to buy date night outfits. I honestly shop anywhere and everywhere, guys. It really depends on what it is exactly that I'm looking for. So I think it's very important to know where you guys are doing and what activity you guys will be doing on your date. I really love Zara for its staple pieces. Like, you can find a really cute pair of denims to work with a bodysuit, or a very nice jersey dress, something simple that you can dress up with heels and throw on a leather jacket. And there's also very nice, like, chilled outfits if you guys are doing something daytimey and you need like a nice floral dress, whatever the case may be. So it really just depends, and also depends on your personal style. The next question is places to get cute lingerie from. Ciao, are you trying to get a lingerie for the first date, honey? I'm joking, but to be fair, I didn't say first date. I literally just said date night. Before we go into that question, I'm going to be going into the same palette, which is a bold blend, and I'm using this orange shade over here, and I'm just building that up around my transition color. When it comes to lingerie, I believe in bras and things. I believe in bras and things more than I believe in myself. They have some amazing quality lingerie. The only thing that I can really fault them for is the lack of inclusivity, and that's a lot of lingerie stores, because they generally don't cater to women with extremely large busts, or maybe they won't have bras that support and accommodate women with larger busts in their sexy designs, like their very sexy designs. They'll only really do that for a woman with your medium to small boobs. So I wish they did better via that. But otherwise, in terms of style and quality, and bras and things is my go-to. I love bras and things. So now I'm just gonna go into my eyeshadow base just to cut my crease while I answer the next question. What is a good lipstick combination for a first date in terms of colors? I'm generally someone who really drifts towards nudes. Whenever I do my makeup, I'm such a nude girl. I really believe in nudes. It really just depends on what kind of look you're going for. I would highly advise on a nude though for a date, especially if it's with someone that you are slightly more interested in. With red lipstick and extremely dark colors, they are much more tedious to clean and keep neat, whereas with a nude, gloss, matte, preferably a matte though, that's a little bit easier to manage and maintain. With anything glossy, then that runs and that can get messy very quickly. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of nude lipsticks for dates. In general, I'm a nude girl, and like generally makeup looks I prefer nude, but if we're being quite honest, nudes are always a little bit more safer to go for on a date. How soon should you ask a guy you're seeing about his income? You know what, Nick, guys, I understand where ladies are coming from when they want to ask questions like this, right? But I also think it's very important for us not to be like rude. Not rude. Like intloni, bring back intloni. I feel like asking someone about their income on the first date, I feel like you should never ask anyone about their income. There's a lot of ways to sort of gauge how someone is doing financially, and yes, everybody has preferences and everyone has different standards. So I can't sit here and be like, it's not important for you to know how much your partner earns. There's a lot of thought, and unfortunately, as much as it may seem very shallow, security happens to be one of them, and that's the reality of it. Whoever I'm trying to build a house with and have kids with needs to be financially independent, secure, have financial freedom. Actually, let me not even say independent, because for me, independence is you can be independent, but you're living hand to mouth. I want my partner to have a lot of money. You know, I want to marry and settle down with someone who has money. And there is nothing wrong or gold diggery of me saying that, because just like a man can have standards and have preferences on what he wants in a wife or a partner, so can women. If money happens to be one of my requirements, then it is, and that's on period. I wouldn't necessarily ask someone, how much do you earn? I feel like that's really invasive and forward. I personally wouldn't appreciate anyone asking me how much I earn or how much I charge for this, especially if it's like someone I'm going on a date with, because why are you asking me that? So maybe you could ask things around their career, like what they do for a living, how long have they been doing it, what are some of the goals that they have for their careers. And like also, before you go on a date with someone, hey, it's very important that you do research. And you guys can't tell me that there's no research that you can do unless you're going on a blind date. But even when you're going on a blind date with someone, surely you should know things like what they do for a living. Surely. So yeah, there's various ways that you can sort of gauge that without being direct. So the creases are cut, dolls. Now we're ready for our date, and that's home period. So I'm just gonna grab a clean brush just to tap off the product that I don't want, any excess product. Now I'm gonna go into the Spotlight Maven eyeshadow palette. So these are the 3 shades over here that I've swatched. I'm really not too sure which one it is exactly that I would like to go with. I'm gonna go with the gold. I'm gonna be my typical boring self, my predictable self, and I'm gonna go with the goldish color. And what I'll be doing is I'm packing this right on top of the light shade that we used to cut our crease. The next question is, what turns you off on a first date with someone? What turns me off on a first date with someone is somebody who cleans their teeth at the table, but then they make those funny sound effects. I don't even want to do them on here, but basically someone who goes, I'm so sorry for doing this, guys. Like, you know, like when they can't get it out with the toothpick and then they start the whole time. I feel like that thing is so annoying. It's annoying because it's repetitive. And so any sound that is repetitive is going to annoy me so much. Like, rather go to the bathroom and clean your teeth there. Or if you know that you have teeth where food gets easily stuck in there, then freaking ask for a floss or keep floss in your bag. Like, or in your pocket, rather to say. But yeah, no, I can't deal with things like that. And just generally, if you're a messy eater, but in a way where it's disgusting. Like, if you just chew with your mouth open and food is falling out of your mouth, then no. I might just have to get up and go home. What is my ideal date? I think for me, an ideal date is anything that allows us to have a conversation over a meal, especially for a first date. Sorry guys, I'm just grabbing this palette over here and I want to go in with this brown color just to put it on the outer corners. So yeah, I know it goes against the whole thing of being spontaneous, but I really prefer, especially for first dates, just to have a meal and a drink and conversation over that, because we're getting to know each other. It's nicer to do things like that. Also, if you're going to be super spontaneous for a first date, how do you know what is completely out of my comfort zone? Like, what if I'm someone who's terrified of flights and then now you're taking me skydiving and now it's awkward because I'm having a panic attack because I'm scared of heights and blah blah blah. So ideally for me, anything that's simple, dinner, and then maybe if you someone who would like to do an activity, it's something we can do a little bit afterwards or even before the actual meal. So I'm a simple girl, wait you. Would you pay for the bill if he forgot his wallet? I definitely would. I don't like attention that's going to embarrass me. So I'm the kind of person where even if I'm not out with my partner and I'm in a situation where the people that I'm out with are now, you know, when people do that thing where they huddle and they have to discuss a bill, or when there's just back and forth over like if someone didn't count their part of the bill correctly, now we have to bring out our calculators and it's like a whole fuss and the waiter standing here with a card machine. I'm the kind of person who doesn't like all that kind of unnecessary drama. I'm honestly just going to pay for the bill. It really is whatever. But I just don't understand how you could forget your wallet if you're going on a date. As a man, you ask me on a date, you fetched me, and then when we get to the date, you're gonna tell me that you forgot your wallet. Firstly, you knew you were going on a date. Did you not check that you have everything you need in your bag before you left your house? Not in your bag, in your pockets, in your car. Somebody asked, is a night in considered date night? Not a first date. For me, if you're inviting me to your house for a first date, it's a little bit rapey. Especially if it's someone you haven't even met. It's a little bit tone deaf, considering everything that's going on in the country, how high the rape stats are and femicide and things like that. For you to invite a woman to your house on a first date, it's a little bit tone deaf. So I'd always advise that a first date is not in a very intimate setting for safety purposes more than anything. So yeah, I would not go to someone's house for a first date unless I know the person. Like if I've had, but even so, like people are psychopaths, guys. You could be talking to someone for weeks and then something happens, you know what I mean? I think I'm somewhat happy with what we've done on the eyes so far. This isn't anything like a tutorial to teach you guys anything new that you probably don't even know. It's really just about me using the Maven products on camera and having a conversation with you guys and sharing my opinion on the products as we go along. We're done with the eye look for now. I just want to quickly let you guys know I love their eyeshadow palettes. The pigment, as you guys can see for yourselves, the quality of the product is superb. So I'm going to move on to face now. I'm going to prime my face with a mattifying primer, and I'm going to be using a foundation brush just to blend that into my skin. So I'm just to quickly finish answering the person's question about if it is considered a date night. It really can be considered date night depending on what it is exactly that you guys are doing, especially if it's someone you've been with for a while. I'm sure you guys would have found interests that you share. So maybe you guys could make it like a little cute setup where you guys watch a movie. That is even a date. I think a date is really just to spend time with the person that you're trying to get to know, or someone that you like. Sex on a first date. Ciao. Anyway, so the foundation I will be using today, you know what? I think anything that has to do with sex, it's a very personal decision. I would like to think that whoever is watching or listening to this conversation is an adult and it's someone who's as of age. So you are smart and old enough to make your own decisions. But I'm generally not someone who likes to do that on a first date, because firstly, usually if a man asks you on a date, he's already very happy to be there if you have already agreed to going on the date, right? So already this person's keen, like they're keen to sit down and have a meal with me, they're keen to go out and have a drink with me, because unsheli lemos ne. So giving him the pussy on a first date, for me personally, I'm always just like, I don't like to do that, because okay, now you've got it, and what? You know? Now what? I mean, obviously the outcome is not the same for everyone. Some people have sex on a first date and they get married and have kids and fall in love. But unfortunately, that's not how all men think or how all men are. Some men are just in it for what they want, which is sex, and then they're gonna ditch. So all I can say is, please be safe if you're gonna have sex with someone for the first, second, third, fourth time. As long as you're not aware of their sexual history or status, there's absolutely no reason as to why you should be having unprotected sex with them. Try by all means to carry your own protection, even, because that also gives you power in that situation to initiate things like that happening, so that you don't get taken advantage of. Which low-key restaurants would you suggest for date night? This is so funny because it's like the person who asked this knows me. Every time I go on a date, I will call my friends on some, friend, which restaurant do you think we should go to? I need something like super private, because I mean, I'm young, I'm casually dating, I see people, you know, so I don't want to be seen out and about with different men, child, no ways. So I really like the Residence. It has a very quiet restaurant, and even the setup of the restaurant, it is not that open. So, you know, there's certain sides that you can sit on where someone wouldn't really necessarily see you unless they walk to that side of the restaurant. So I love the Residence. I think Fairlawns is also pretty private. Like a lot of boutique hotels, I can't speak on other cities in the world and whatever, but I'm just speaking on Joburg and places that I've been to and places that I've experienced. Also, another thing you guys need to remember is that people have access to places now and information, and because of social media, it makes the world so much smaller. You know, one of your favorite influencers goes to the restaurant, she snaps there, she tags the place, now people started going. So I think it's also important to pay attention to when you go on dates. If you're going on a date with someone that you aren't necessarily like ready to be seen in public with for any reason, maybe you'd like rather go out for dinner during the week than you would on a weekend, because obviously weekends restaurants are packed. So there's just those kind of things to consider. Would you share the bill with your date or your boyfriend?
Oh, the ghetto. The ghetto. The ghetto.
I wouldn't share the bill with my partner. I don't believe in that thing, guys, to be quite honest. I'm not a fan of, isn't it, the 50-50? I don't like it at all. I would prefer that if my partner is not in a position to pay for the bill, or if I'm offering, then I'm offering because I'm going to pay for the entire bill. I don't see a reason as to why I should be sitting on a date with my man and pulling out a calculator to calculate who should be paying how much. If there's anybody else who feels like this makes sense and it works for them, then that is completely up to you. And I think the one thing that we really need to like normalize in dating culture is to stop shaming each other for each other's preferences. So if I feel like I prefer to do things this way in my relationship, or I prefer men who you know, offer to pay for the whole bill, or like, why must I now change my standards and my preferences because somebody else thinks they too high, or I'm a gold digger, or whatever? If you feel like my standards are too high, then go date somebody who doesn't mind pulling out a calculator and saying, okay, baby, you had a Coke, that's 20 Rand. Yeah, I had a steak, that's 150. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to do that. I am so sorry. I'm not going to do that with a man. Rather, you pass me the whole bill and I'll pay for the entire thing. Yeah. What would you do if your date rocked up in sweats and a football t-shirt? What can I do, guys? What would you do? I mean, I wouldn't leave. But I'd probably be... Hey. What are your top 3 night musts date night must when getting ready. I feel like I always have to shower, especially if I'm going like on a first date. Just after a long day, I want to feel fresh. I want to, you know, smell good. And sometimes after wearing your perfume the whole day and then just topping up, yes, it may help, but you don't feel great. So for me, I shower. I always make sure that I've done my makeup well enough for it to be long lasting, in the sense that I pay a lot of attention to things like baking as well as primers. I do have oily skin, so I don't want to be worrying about going to the bathroom every couple of minutes to powder my face or checking if my nose isn't like extremely shiny. And also on a first date, I don't want to look like I'm someone who's more concerned about how they look than how the other person, like the conversation with the other person. So if you're doing things like pulling out your powder and your mirror at the table, I don't know, I just feel like that that can sort of be a little bit distracting, especially to the person that you're trying to have a conversation with. And then another thing that's very, very important is having a little fragrance in my bag. Not even only when I'm going on a date, but even if I'm going out like with friends or whatever, it's just nice to have a fragrance, especially in summer because it gets hot, people sweat. Now next thing, you're not smelling too good, cha. And for me, smelling good is very, 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 very important. Like, I care about how I smell a lot. I pay attention a lot to how people smell. Like, I pay attention to scents quite often. And even when I do go on a date with guy, you'll find that if you are someone who has a good scent, I'll most likely compliment you because I'm the kind of person who pays attention to those kind of things. What is the first thing you look for in a guy on a first date? For me, it's honestly manners, guys. Manners are so important, and this is probably something that it's so underrated. We all expect people to have common decency and manners, but we honestly don't realize how a lot of people are actually very ill-mannered. A lot of men are ill-mannered in how they treat women, in their approach towards women, and how they speak to women. So on a first date, for me, that really stands out. If you're gonna do things like get up and pull the chair out, for me, I'm obviously impressed. And as much as it seems like bare minimum things, we have to really give props to the guys who still do things like that, because a lot of guys really actually don't. Oh my gosh, this is such a put off. If a man orders his order and he doesn't even care to ask what it is that you're going to eat, or have you ordered? Actually, you should be ordering first. You should be ordering first. On a first date, I feel like if the waiter comes, it's like, so what are you guys having to drink? He should be like, ladies first. And then I'll be like, oh, I'm having the whatever, what are you having? And then, you know, if you're just gonna like quickly order and then keep quiet and not even care to ask what I'm having, then you are not a gentleman, and I don't want to give you another date. A bottle, and we are sharing a bottle, just things like refilling my glass, even if the waiter, like if the waiter's doing it, of course you don't have to do it, but if the waiter's busy and he maybe doesn't notice, he or she doesn't notice that my glass is running out, then I just think it's polite if you are offering to do things like that. So yeah, I just pay attention to things like that on a first date. So now we're going in with blush. As you guys saw, I did dust off my setting powder. Hey love, so I'm back. I did my wing liner off camera and I also stuck on my lashes. The lashes I did use today are from Kiss at Clicks, and I went in for the blowout lash. So now we're gonna go into lower lash line, and I'm going to grab this right over here. I'm not really even gonna waste time and try and like do a whole bunch of smoking out, because I really just want my lower lash line to be very deep and dark. So I'm first gonna go in with the medium blend eyeshadow palette, and I'm gonna be using this shade over here. Then I'm going to be finishing that off with some black eyeliner, but I'll also be locking in the liner with the black eyeshadow. Assuming you've dated both, do you prefer celebs or unknown people, and why? So this is not necessarily part of the date night questions, but I thought it's an interesting question for me to answer. So I personally prefer people who aren't in the limelight. I prefer people who don't even do anything close to what I do, because I just feel like I deal with the stresses of, you know, being in the public eye, and I don't want to have to deal with that in my workplace and also in my relationship. So for me, preferably, I would rather not date someone who is known. But if I do meet someone who is known, because I feel like fame doesn't necessarily already mean like a character flaw, so I can't sit here and be like I'm completely against it and I would never date anyone who's in the public eye. If I meet someone, they're great, they treat me right, they respect me, and we just have so much chemistry, then why not, you know? But generally my preference is people who are not known. I like it when people don't know who my man is. I love it when people do not know who my man is. I really like it. Like, who's making her so happy, child? I'm gonna go in with a gel liner just to bring in that tense definition, that, you know what I mean? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this small dome brush and I'm going to go into this palette and I'm going to use these two shades over here just to lock and smoke out the eyeliner that we just placed. So I'm first going to go in with the brown and place that directly under the liner. And then I'm going to follow in with the black and I'm going to focus this on the lash line. So now I'm going to grab some mascara and pop some on my lower lash line. So I'm going to be going in with my Maven highlighter in the shade Dripped Out, and this is what it looks like. Ooh, and I'm first gonna I believe in setting spray, guys. I believe in setting spray. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm definitely one for nude lips. So I'm going to be going in with either one of these shades for Maven. They actually sent me quite a large selection of nudes to work with. I think for the outer lips, I will be going in with Buna, a much deeper nude. And then for inner lips, I'm going to go in with Sus, which looks like that. The shades are very similar. Like for example, these two, these are completely different shades, but please look at how similar they look. I mean, of course they're not the same, but they're very similar. The lipsticks look very matte in the packaging, but the finish is actually quite satin. And then I'm gonna go in with Sus. Just in the inner heart of my lip to try and ombre it out. Okay, that is not working. See, the shades are just so similar, guys.